So this week, we're going to talk about audiences and audience research. Audience research and analysis. It's always ongoing in the media industry. TV and radio need to know what types of content successfully reaches their target audiences. Cable and satellite companies need to understand which audience demand what types of services. Social networks look at engagement as well as connections. Advertisers monitor effectiveness of their message across all the different platforms. And digital platforms monitor success in all different ways, such as the number of times an application is downloaded or a number of hits. Data, there's different kinds of data. Demographic, which is the normal kind from the olden days, I'd call it, that's best represented by the age, sex, ethnicity, income, education, and different time periods, like we call them day parts. This describes the audience and specifies how many people are watching or listening at a given time. Psychographic, this is the fun one. This focuses on the consumer and the lifestyle of the consumer, like their hobbies, activities, opinions, interests, needs, and personalities. This is qualitative analysis type stuff. Attitudes of people, gauge changes in their lifestyles. It deals with focus groups and program testing and call centers, call out research. Then there's geographic. This combines demographic and psychographic, but in a specific geographic area, used extensively in advertising research. And geolocation research, this is using the GPS capabilities used by marketers and advertisers. And then there's big data. I'm sure you've heard that a lot lately. Big data is data sets that are too large and complex to manipulate or integrate with the regular standard methods. While I was getting my PhD, there were 3 or 4 other candidates that were working on ways of analyzing big data. We're trying to find out ways to break it up. Do we find a tool that will work with it, analytics, advancing those. It's ongoing research and analysis. Social media, service logs, web click streams, click-throughs. So you can imagine there's so much information out there for us to utilize. Sources of audience research data. The big guys are Nielsen. They have been the leader since I can remember. In-home, out-of-home, cross-platforms, they do it all. There are others, as you can see here or you read in the book, but Nielsen is still the king. When it comes to radio research services, locally based, Nielsen has that too. It used to be called Arbitron, but it measures the type of audio listening, including online and mobile. Nationally, though, Radar is the research service that the radio uses, and that's radio's all-dimension audience research. It determines the audience of network radio services and nationally syndicated radio shows. The industry and trade associations, those are good sources for finding research data. They're all written here, the RAB, the CAB, everybody's an AB. Each of these provides basic research data to help members sell advertising. And that's why they want to know. They want to know what their listeners want, and then they want to sell advertisers to connect with those listeners. The National Association of Broadcasters, or the NAB, provides several research sources for their clients. Other sources, consulting firms, internal research departments, those are in-house departments that usually deal with sales. They're located in the sales department. Using audience data. The research from this data helps to identify key strengths and weaknesses of content as well as their competitors. It's done in 2 ways. There's ratings and there's shares, and people get very confused by all this. We're not going to go into great detail. One of the things to remember is that ratings is an estimate. It's the estimate of the number of people or households who view or listen to a particular program based on a universal estimate. A single rating point represents 1 percentage point of the population. And then there's a share. This measures the percentage of the viewing or listening audience, and it's based on an actual number. This measures how well a program is doing against its competitor. And here's I guess, the math of the whole thing, audience versus the universal estimate, or audience versus the household using television. And that, like I said, is based on an actual number of shares. Market terminology, the DMA is the designated market area. This consists of the counties that were the heaviest concentrated of viewing or listening of stations in a metro area. The market ratings by Nielsen are based on the number of households in a DMA. Metro is the geographic area, corresponding to the U.S. Office of Management and Budget's standard metropolitan statistical area. Ratings and samples. Rating information is obtained by gathering data from a sample of the audience. A sample is a representation of a larger group. So there's these random samplings that happen. Random sampling is used to select a sample, which means that each member of the population has an equal chance of being selected for the study. Using data from random sampling, companies can estimate the viewing or listening percentage of a larger population. The Media Rating Council is accredited with assuring that these ratings are accurate. And ratings are only estimates, so there is a degree of error involved. Social media analytics. I do a lot of work in this in my advanced technologies class. I've been learning a lot about it recently, and it's changing rapidly. Social media platforms don't rely on ratings or on shares. Instead, they have analytical tools that measure the platform as a whole. Every one of them has their own tool, but Google Analytics is the biggest one. It's not even written here. They don't really talk about it in the book. I don't remember them talking about it in the book, but Google Analytics, if your website is connected with Google Analytics, and then you just put a code on each one of your pages, you go to your analytics and you find out who was looking, how long they were looking, what pages they were on, everything you need to know about your website you can find there. But Twitter also has one. It's called the Twitalizer, and Facebook also has one, but it has to be within a Facebook that's used for business. And it'll tell you how many new visitors you have and how many posts there have been. YouTube has one that you can all use. You just go to your analytics and you can see who's been looking at your videos. Important social media data that they collect is new users and followers, time spent on the platform, the content that people viewed, traffic sources, so if they came directly to your YouTube site or your website, or they came in from someplace else as a link, that's important information, and the locations of your users. You'll find if you do have a Google Analytics site, if you decide to do that, you'll get these crazy analytics from Russia and other parts of the world that they're just bots, robots, they're called bots, that are fishing out for websites, and you'll get them, and at first you get really excited when you first start using analytics, and it's like, oh, well, it's 100% bounce rate, meaning that somebody came and left immediately off my site. You want your bounce rate to be really low on your analytics. That means they stayed for a long time. Research is used for programming and sales. So they use the research to decide, is this program successful? Do we make more programs like it? Or is it in the right time slot? And then what do we sell during that time slot? Also used for marketing and branding. And analytics from social media is used by companies to engage more audience, to bring more people in. Management must carefully analyze research results to make internal decisions on how to best use the data to reach their audience and connect advertisers with the right audience. That's the key right there, is you look at the analytics, if you have the right audience, if you're getting a lot of hits, you have the advertising power now. You can go to the advertisers and say, look, we have, wouldn't this be great, 1 million hits from the age group of 12 to 18. So clearly, you should definitely be advertising on our site, on our show, on our radio program. Technology has moved us from the era of mass media to the era of consumer media, where consumers drive the choice and the consumption. So your assignment this week is to review the case study researching the Hispanic audience on page 159 of your book, and also this website here that you can find in the regular PowerPoint on Moodle that'll give you a lot more information about bilinguals in media. And this, in this area of Georgia, of course, we have a large Hispanic population. So look at the research, look at the demographics, the psychographics, and any other data that's available, and prepare a summary of where you see opportunities for media companies and advertisers to target this market that we live in. I know you could be in a different part of Georgia, but wherever your market is, that's what you're writing towards. Please APA format and use two major references outside of the link. Thank you and have a great day.